We all want our kids to get a good education, right? To get them prepared for success in life. But some of our kids struggle with learning for various reasons, and extra help is sometimes needed. We want to talk about that a bit today with Jason Kwasny. He's the principal of Palliser Beyond Borders, a school based out of Coaldale, Alberta. So good to have you with us, Jason.
Thanks, Paul. It's good to be here.
You bet. Can you first of all just give us a brief overview of what your school is all about?
Sure. So Palliser Beyond Borders started actually in 2014. We started as an online school. Previous to that, we were considered Pass Plus was the school that some of the people in the Coaldale area will be familiar with, and that was the outreach school here. Over the past 11 years, we've grown sort of away from that outreach model, and we've had more of our students go into the online program. So we offer all the programs and classes that students need to graduate. We are primarily a 9 through 12 school, although we're making some adjustments to our grade levels. Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful to be able to give students around Alberta and actually around the world opportunities to continue on with the Alberta curriculum and be successful.
Okay. And now I understand some of your students had to interrupt their educational journey. Now, maybe they had a medical condition, something like that, mental health challenges, or financial difficulties. Maybe it's a broken family situation, that sort of thing, right? And so they come to you, and I mean, what age groups are we talking about? You said grade 9 to 12, right? But is there a limit as to, I mean, what's too old to attend, right? So they've had something interrupted, so they're coming back to, get some help here. Are we talking like 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds? I mean, where are we at there?
Well, actually, and I'm sure she wouldn't like me to say this, so I won't use any names, but a couple years back, we had a 76-year-old lady that came and finished her high school diploma
Come
with us. So
on, are you serious? That's
yeah,
amazing.
she had left high school early, had went into post-secondary, done a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, but it bothered her. She never had a high school diploma. So we did that. We had an 81-year-old gentleman last year that we helped to finish his high school diploma. So really, when it comes to the top level, if students are engaged and they're ready to go and they have a desire, we have tons of adult learners that are coming back to upgrade to improve either their stance in life, to improve their education and their post-secondary opportunities, and then we have some just come do it for the love, right? And so it's great. Yeah.
Wow, I love it. And a part of your approach is to have a lot of flexibility for the students. So are there different methods of teaching and learning that are offered to the kids? Or the older
Absolutely.
people?
So yeah, yeah. With our online programs, we strive for flexibility. We realize that traditional school is great for a lot of things, but for some of our individuals who are working, some of our younger students, although I did say grade 9, we are reducing our grade, not reducing, lowering our grade level to include grade 7 students to match the new high school here in Coaldale. So we'll get some new students, but some of them have difficulties, with sleep, waking up early in the morning, staying up too late. There's a lot of issues that are going on. Students that are working late into the evening are sometimes difficult to get in there. So what we require of our students is essentially, that they have an hour a day a class to put us, or an hour a day per class to invest into their education. And, along with that, we ask them to reach out to their teachers once a week. Now, when they're connecting and when they're putting in that time, that's sort of on their schedule. So we help them to create the schedules. They're driving the bus, I like to say, and we just like to help to give them a map towards success there. So.
Okay, so the times are definitely flexible for sure. And are there any different teaching methods that are used? I mean, some people, I guess, learn more visually. Some, I don't know. There's different ways of learning, right?
We try and give as many opportunities as we can. Accessibility is really important to us. So providing all the content in multiple ways. We use videos. We have live teacher sessions a couple times a week. So students are always welcome to come and connect with their teachers, either in those live sessions or one-on-ones to get really direct help. Tutorials, I like to say, more so than lectures. We have, print-based materials. We use a digital screen for the material, right? But just straight text, videos, audio. Really, we're trying to remove the barriers to instruction. provide the you know, accessibility to the students, provide the flexibility to the students, and then remove the barriers so that they can, meet all their educational needs and goals. So.
Right. So for the student-teacher interaction, you mentioned, they can come in person, right? And then there's others that do this online. And so if you're doing it online, can you, I guess, just meet virtually with via Zoom or whatever, and just connect with the teacher that way, and you both maybe share the screen, and they can go through, okay, here's how this works, and you fire away questions, all that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. We have, the tools are out there, right? We have virtual whiteboards so that we can have students, we can be doing math. Math to me, and that was my background, is the hardest one to do with a keyboard, mouse, anything like that, right?
Okay, yeah.
But we have virtual whiteboards and tablets and whatnot that we can write on to make sure that the students are able to see and not just hear what we're demonstrating, what we're talking about. We have all of my teachers have time during their day to connect one-on-one. So we call that asynchronous time, but it does become synchronous in some case where they're face-to-face with them. But they're responding to emails, communicating with parents. Parents are our number one tool to get their students engaged. We really try and get them on their end, to be asking their students, just like every other teacher, what did you learn today, right? What did you do in school today? And your teacher reached out and hasn't heard from you in a bit. Can you connect? So my teachers are always connecting with families and students, and that can be a one-on-one 15-minute meeting, talking about Shakespeare and getting really deep into that. And there's so much we can learn about students in that time. So, and then, yes, some students are coming in face-to-face, an hour here, hour there. It's wonderful. So.
Well, that's another question I'm sure people would have is, if you're online and now you're, of course, offering the opportunity to come in person, which I think is fabulous. But any concerns about socialization? I mean, if you're just online, and there's probably some of your students that are, mainly online, right? So any thoughts on the socialization aspect?
You know what? It's interesting, Paul, because I believe that the online gives them the flexibility to socialize in other ways, right? They are out there in their community doing volunteer work,
Oh, okay.
because they are not doing the 9 to 5 school or the 8:30 till 3:30 school. So they're getting out there, they're volunteering, they're working jobs and everything within our school. One of our rules is when you're in class, your cameras are on. We want to see you. We want to see your face. We want to make sure that you're seeing your peers and classmates and all the cultural diversity that comes along with the Palliser School.
Okay, so there's that interaction actually when you're online. You're actually part of the class that's, well, depending, I guess, on what time is available for them. Maybe they're working night shift or something, who knows. But you're saying predominantly you're actually doing the class together with those who are in person as well and the others who are online.
Absolutely, right. We with some of our junior high programs, we see our students that connect afterwards, right? So in the hour breaks between classes, when they're working on homework, they're starting their own Google Meet, and they're having play dates. When we had younger students during the COVID time, going to each other's houses, right? So yeah, it is different. But those opportunities are still there. It's not alone, and that's one of the things we really stress to families is your students will never learn alone with us. So.
Well, that's good. Yeah, we need one another. That's just one of my beliefs anyway. I do better when we've got people around us. And so likewise with support and maybe counseling services that are needed by some of the students by the sounds of it, right? And maybe, just different mental health challenges or, again, family struggles, that sort of thing. I'm assuming that's made available through school counselors, right?
Absolutely, and Palliser has a wonderful team of school counselors. One of their policies, if we can't get a student into some face-to-face counseling in person, is they never provide counseling if the student is at home alone. So we always want to make sure that there's somebody supportive in the event that something goes wrong. But we'll do virtual counseling with students as well, right? Part of our new model with the outreach, sort of with us reinvigorating, is to have a live teacher for outreach students, no matter what class they are taking, no matter what grade, to be able to stop in and get assistance, get instruction face to face. But we also do an intake for these students to review all of their needs. So, do they need counseling needs, mental health needs? Is there substance abuse issues? All of those pieces, so we can identify, what services to you put in place for each student. create that calendar so that we know, when to expect them in, and then follow up on those. So if students aren't coming in, which a lot of times they don't, they're committed when they're in the building, but a lot of times the minute they walk out, it slides away, and there's always something better to be doing, right? And so we can follow up with these resources and make them available, and it's really useful. So.
All right. Do you have any success stories you can kind of share on how the program's been helping kids get back on track?
Absolutely, we have tons.
Okay.
Primarily high schools have those 3-year graduations, that 10, 11, 12 graduation scheme. We have a few students with us right now who are working on year 5 of a graduation plan. So Alberta Education provides funding for 5 years for students. So essentially grades 13 and 14 as well.
Mm-hmm.
We have a few students who have been hospitalized and receiving treatment for some fairly significant health concerns. And through flexibility, we'll take a 1-semester course, and we've had that students complete it over the span of a year, sometimes spanning summer, to make sure that when they're able to work, when they're not receiving the treatments, they're able to engage with their teacher and keep going. And one of our students will be graduating this year, and he's been with us for 4 years now, the entire time I've been with Palliser, and working through some very substantial health issues. And he's going through his diploma exams this past semester. It's going really well. So.
All right, good to hear. And again, online studies, so forth. Is there any challenges to actually monitor their progress to see how they're doing? Is that a bit more difficult or no?
Absolutely. When we talk about attendance, regular schools are looking at attendance and bodies in front of them every single day. We talk about attending to learning. So over the span of 1 week, we want to make sure that those students are logging into our learning management system. And we can see the tracks, or we can see the logs of how often they're logging in, how much time they're spending in their classes, how many clicks they essentially have as they're going through, and time spent on pages. So we can see, when they tell mom and dad, yeah, I've been into class. Yes, you did. You clicked one link, and then you went off to play video games. Or we can see, are they grouping it up on weekends or spreading it out over the week? So one of the things we look at is that those login informations. Then we also look at submissions. All of my teachers have, consistent assessments. So not just, the big high stakes exams at the end of the units, but assessments throughout their units that students can connect in. So how often are those coming in? How are we seeing, what's the quality of work that we're seeing from there? And then finally, how often are they connecting with their teachers, right? Like I said before, Paul, we expect at least once a week that they are going to communicate. If it's not through a live session, then through chat or email. And so we look at attendance and attending to learning as a 1 week sort of perspective. And we report that attendance over the span of a week. We get a lot of our students say, hold on, I was in biology at my school, and you marked me absent for that class. We say, no, we didn't see you for the whole week. So you might have been at biology in your school, but we want to see you a little bit more often. And so, generally,
The personal interaction there with the teachers can make a big difference, right? I think we all look back and go like, man, there's that one teacher who really encouraged me and made a difference in my life, right? So, hey, so for people watching now might be thinking, maybe my child would do well with this, right? So how do they enroll their kid in this?
The easiest way is to go to our website, palliserbeyondborders.ca, and just fill in a registration. What we do for all of our registrations is my admin assistant puts together a little intake form. We look at their academic history. We take a look at sort of some of their needs, and then I set up an appointment with every one of our new students where we have a conversation about what their academic goals are. For some students, it's a single class. For other students, it's a more developed program. And so we have those conversations, and we make sure during that meeting that our program fits the students' needs and the students able to fit our expectations. And if it doesn't match up, if the students don't feel that this is the right thing for them, it's okay at that point for us to say, you know what, let's part ways. We can make suggestions for other programs that might work. But we're happy to have those students then engage in our classes, get started with our orientation that I was telling you about before, to make sure academics is forefront and technology is not getting in the way. And they can also call our office, right? 403-345-4421. and they can get more information that way too.
And you'd mentioned that you've got people from around the world. So so if you live outside of the Palliser School District, you can still participate as well?
Absolutely. We, part of Alberta Education's mandate is to make our program available beyond just Palliser. Yeah, students from outside of Palliser are welcome within Alberta. When we start to look at international students and students who are outside of Alberta, there are some changes and there's some adjustments and conversations that need to be had. One is we do need to charge some fees out there because we're not getting funding for those. But absolutely, we have a young student who's actually playing WHL down in the U.S. and he's taking classes through us as well at this time. So it's wonderful.
Sounds good. Thanks so much for being with us today, Jason. Appreciate it.
Paul, thanks for the time. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about our program.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Jason Kwasny, he's the principal of Palliser Beyond Borders, a school based out of Coaldale, Alberta. I'm Paul Arthur. On behalf of all of us here at Bridge City News, thanks for watching.